What up, Hype Squad? It's your boy Lucrecio coming at you with another video. And if you're new, welcome to ExceedTheHype.com. And if you want to join the Hype Squad, go ahead and click subscribe. All right. So today's video is about the Utah Jazz. Now, they had a bad offseason as far as losing their best player. They lost their best player, Gordon Hayward. He went to the Boston Celtics to join up with the situation they have going on in Boston. So no more Gordon Hayward. The face of your franchise is gone, even though you have another one. Your highest scorer is gone. One of your main playmakers is gone. You lost a lot, basically. But all hope is not lost. So even though I believe they will take a step back, I believe it's going to be a baby step back. I don't think they're going to lose a whole lot of ground just because Gordon Hayward left, mainly because they have players who are getting better, and then they have a player who probably wasn't getting all the minutes that he probably deserved, and he can do a lot of what Gordon Hayward was doing, probably absent of the playmaking. He probably can't playmake at the level Gordon Hayward was, but he could definitely score somewhat to the level that Gordon Hayward. And obviously I'm talking about Rodney Hood when I say that. So let's take a look at this roster. Now, this video is going to be a little bit tougher than normal because I just don't watch the Utah Jazz very much. I did watch them in the playoffs and I did watch like a few games, but some of their rosters is a little bit tough for me. Like, for instance, Joel Ballum Boy is somebody I haven't heard of. I don't know if that was their draft pick this year. So it's going to be tough to give analysis on some of these guys. But in any case, this is the only team and I would have this trouble with, and I'm not going to skip them. So let's go. All right, so let's talk about Alec Burks. Somebody who can score at a high level off the bench or whatever. Don't know if he's going to be starting. I doubt it. I don't see where he would start. But he's somebody who can definitely give them some production off the bench. You have Dante Exum. Now, he's somebody who the expectations were very high for coming over from Australia. Everybody thought he was going to be the next, big point guard or whatever who's super athletic or whatever. And he has a lot of those attributes. He's very athletic. He's very quick. He's about 6'6" or whatever. And I just don't know if he has the mind to play point guard in the NBA at this point. I don't want to say he doesn't have it, but it just doesn't seem when you watch him play that he is getting NBA basketball at a high level at this point. Now, I obviously can be wrong, so we'll see. We'll ultimately see this year. I believe this is his third year, and he will get more opportunities this year, once again, with the guard depth thinning out some. So we will ultimately see, what he has in the tank or what he can do on the court. Derek Favors, last year, he was in all the trade talks last year. Everybody was saying that Derek Favors wasn't going to stay. He was going to be the odd man out. They weren't going to pay him because they were going to have to pay Gordon Hayward and this and that. Everybody thought Derek Favors would be the odd man out. Now that Gordon Hayward is gone, he may be there to stay, and maybe they might show him the money. He's a big inside player. Once again, it's kind of a dinosaur, though, because in today's NBA, the bigs have to be able to shoot threes to space the floor for quicker players who can get to the basket. So with him not being that kind of a player, and with them having another player who occupies that area, I think it's going to be tough for them to figure out how to kind of balance that. But Derek Favors is a player. He's a big body down low. He can get you buckets in the paint. And if you're a player, maybe Memphis might want to think about sliding in there to see if they can get him out of there to replace Zach Randolph. Who knows? But he's somebody who could definitely get you buckets by, a body and people and doing work inside. Rudy Gobert. A lot of people thought he should have been the defensive player of the year this past season. He obviously lost it to Draymond Green. I believe he had the most blocks, and he probably had someone like the highest defensive field goal percentage or something like that. But he was a very, very effective. I know the stat nerds and whatever absolutely loved Rudy Gobert this past season. I was scouting Rudy Gobert years ago when he looked like a tall, awkward guy, because he's just big. Like, he's listed, I think, is 7'1", but I wouldn't be surprised if he's a little bit bigger than that. He's just big and long. It's difficult to score on him, and he's also pretty agile too. Now, I know most people are going to point to the Steph Curry thing when they had him turning around, and then the memes when they had him in the dance club and all that type of stuff. That stuff to me, it adds to Steph Curry's intimidation factor, because centers, when they try to guard him 25 feet away from the basket, they end up in memes, basically. But it's designed to work that way. Rudy Gobert is an outstanding defender no matter what anybody says. Most people agree with that, but if people don't think so, it's just because of social media or whatever. But Rudy Gobert is that dude. He's somebody who his improvement will be offensively. Since he is one of the few players who are going to always be on the court to protect the rim, even though he's a 7-footer, I think he needs to add a little bit more to his offensive game. We need to be able to toss it into you, and you should take a dribble or whatever and be able to back a defender down and take a hook shot or something. But if I'm Utah, I need him to be able to get me easy buckets inside. Whenever the game slows down, whenever it gets tough, whenever the defense extends out on the perimeter and starts locking stuff down, we need to be able to drop it in there and get an easy 2 buckets. Get an easy 2 points every time we toss that entry pass in. But Rudy Gobert is going to be an outstanding player in the NBA. You can almost book that. Rodney Hood, we talked about him a little bit at the beginning of the video. I think Rodney Hood is going to be, their franchise player, or one of their franchise players moving forward. Like I said, he can score with the best of them, man. He can equal the offensive production that Gordon Hayward gave them last year. I truly believe that, because he scores with such ease. He can score off the dribble, or he can move off the ball, or whatever the case may be. He can shoot threes. He has, a very, very good range from 3. He has the package when it comes to scoring. He will need to defend at a high level, and I think he will need to help out with the playmaking duties a little bit. But Rodney Hood can go, and I think he's the guy, because once again, he came off the bench last year because of Gordon Hayward. I personally think Gordon Hayward sliding out the team is going to open up a big opportunity for him, and he's going to, fully grasp the opportunity to be that leading scorer on this team, a team that could be a playoff team in the Western Conference. Joe Ingles, he took some steps forward in his career last year. He kind of raised his ire around the league, or his value around the league, or whatever. So that's obviously very good for him. They added Jonas Jerebko from the Celtics. So once again, that's going to give them some depth, some front court depth coming off the bench. Joe Johnson, old washed up ISO Joe, who's still somehow producing in the playoffs. He had a couple big games, a couple game winners in the playoffs last year. He can still go, and his game is so paced and under control. Nobody can make him play outside of his comfort zone. He's always going to play in his comfort zone, and as long as he can do that, he can still be effective in the NBA. He's basically one of their veteran leaders. Donovan Mitchell is going to give them, in my opinion, is also going to help fill the gap for what Gordon Hayward left behind, because he's somebody I wasn't expecting a whole lot. I didn't get to watch him in college a whole lot, but I wasn't expecting what I saw in the Summer League. In the Summer League, he looked like a very dominant player in that league. So we'll see if that transfers over to the NBA. But I think this guy can go. I really do think he can go. So we'll see. We will see what he's really made out of. And then let's talk about Ricky Rubio for a second. Ricky Rubio has not been one of my favorite point guards in the NBA. It's not because he doesn't have skills. He probably should be, because of the things I value in the point guard position. But he's just not, because it's hard to really support point guards who can't shoot from range. Today's NBA is about three-pointers, basically. It's about creating space, making the court bigger, and, scoring 3 points or whatever. If you can't shoot threes at the point guard position, I just think you will struggle. It's hard for me to really, really like a point guard who can't shoot threes or whatever. That's why Rondo is having trouble. Rondo has a very high basketball IQ. He can think the game at a level that a lot of people can't. However, what's going on with Rondo? He can barely get a job in the NBA. Why is that? It's because he can't shoot. You need to be able to shoot from the point guard position. You just need that shooting from the point guard position. Ricky Rubio is somebody who's an inconsistent shooter from the point guard position, and I think that will always hurt him in his career, but he's somebody who's also a very smart basketball player. He's somebody who can make all the tough passes, the cross-court passes, all that type of stuff. He's somebody who sees the floor, the whole floor, because he's big. He's about 6'4", playing the point guard. And he's not, a lot of people complain that he doesn't have that athleticism, but I think he's pretty quick. He has a pretty useful first step or whatever. And I see him beating his defender off the dribble, enough to determine that he is a very good athlete or whatever. He's very quick. So with that in mind, I think he could be very good with Utah. He's going to step into that starter role right away, unless Dante Exum is just crazy in training camp and they just have to start him. I think Ricky Rubio will be that guy starting at point guard for the Jazz. And I'm just curious to see how that's going to all fit. One thing he will need to improve his shooting, though, if he's going to be effective, because once again, the Jazz need more scoring anyway. Like, not having Gordon Hayward to be your primary scorer or somebody you go to when the offense slows down and you need a bucket or whatever, not having that there is going to put a lot of pressure on Rodney Hood to fill that void, and Donovan Mitchell. But on top of having those guys, you really need Ricky Rubio to be able to put points on the board as needed as well. So we'll see. Their success will partly be dependent on how good Rubio is as well. So we'll see how that goes out. But in my opinion, I don't personally believe that the Utah Jazz will take a very large step back. I think it'll be a baby step back. Instead of being the 5th seed or the 4th seed like they were this past year, maybe they're looking at the 7th, 8th seed, maybe. But ultimately, we'll see how they play and how they gel together without their big star Gordon Hayward and their franchise player in the face of franchise, all right? But in my opinion, they'll be all right, all right? That's the video. Let me know what you think. If you enjoyed the content, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you want to join the Hype Squad, go ahead and click the red subscribe button. All right, see you next time.